Hello to everyone watching this. I hope you're having a great week. I have a devotional for this week from Proverbs chapter 7. We're just beginning chapter 7 now. As you remember, we just finished up chapter 6, which concluded with a passage on warning against adultery. We're just going to be reading verses 1 through 5 of chapter 7. And these verses serve as an introduction to a story that we're going to look at next week that is shared in this chapter of Proverbs. So as we're reading through these verses, remember, this is meant to kind of be the verses 1 through 5 is the meat of the chapter, and then what follows is a parable explaining why we should be following the wisdom that is given to us in these first 5 verses. So let's go ahead and start reading. As always, feel free to pull out your own Bible or just listen along, whatever suits you. My son, keep my words, and store my commands within you. Keep my commands, and you will live. Guard my teachings as the apple of your eye. Bind them on your fingers. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you are my relative. They will keep you from the adulterous woman and from the wayward woman with her seductive words. What the author is getting at here, what Solomon is getting at here, is that when it comes to wisdom and the commands of a father, commands of somebody who's wiser than you, when they're trying to help you out, it's important to not just hear them, because kind of what's the saying is it goes in one ear, it goes out the other. We don't want instruction or wisdom or insight to be like that. We want to keep them close to ourselves. And so the first example is to bind them on your fingers. Wear them like a glove. Let it always be with you. When you're wearing a glove, that glove is interacting with everything that you interact with. And so wisdom is with all of your actions. Write them on the tablet of your heart. This is actually something that the Jewish people would do quite often, and I believe they still do, is they would take small passages of scripture and they would basically tie them to different parts of their body, maybe around their belt. I think it was common practice to tie it to their shirt. And there were just a lot of different things that they would do to always have wisdom or scripture with them always. And so one thing that we can do is kind of to quote unquote write it on our heart. Let it be with our intentions and our actions. Say to wisdom, you are my sister, and to insight, you are my relative. When it comes to familiar relations, what the Bible kind of always assumes is that when you have a relation, you're going to be close with them. There's going to be a significant bond there. And the reason for that is because family is of the utmost importance. If you were with us on Sunday, if you watched the live service, however it was, I talked a lot about how important it was for a father and mother to have a son or even a daughter. In the same way, most people have siblings, and you know how great companions siblings can be, whether it's a brother or a sister or just having relatives that are there with you always. They're like friends that you kind of never lose. They're always there with you. And he concludes this passage by saying, if you take commands, or take a wise command, if you take wisdom and you bind it to your fingers and you write it on your heart and you keep it with you always throughout your entire life, then you will be kept from the ways of others who are trying to steal you away from wisdom, from the seductive ways of a wayward woman, is what it says. So keep that reminder. It applies to everything in life, really. If you keep wisdom and you bind it to yourself, you bind it around your fingers, you write it on your heart, you keep it with you always, then it'll be so much easier to walk in a way of wisdom. So I pray that you keep that in your hearts and in your minds this week and on and on. Go on, have a good week, and go in peace.